They all come together, drop in. See the spacing when they come out of this. You can see really spinning out on the way back down is Lehman trying to catch back up. Applying pressure to those pedals. There's Christensen trying to make a move on Dag on this descent into the climb up to the finish line. 17 minutes into this 20-minute race. And as she's done every single time, Dag takes it back on that little climb back up. They have a tailwind up this way as well. Sylvia Dag, trailed by Christensen, Lehman there as well. Just sticking to each other this entire race, this group of three. Started as 7, dwindled to 6, 5, 4. And now here we are with 3. We'll see where we are at the end of this race. They move out of the stadium back into that tough section. And there's Dag again, driving into the climb, really spinning, getting on those gears and then working it up again. So you're climbing out of the saddle. Christensen and Lehman remain seated heading up there, still putting in some excellent power. Drop down to 2 option lines, A, B. Dag takes the turn nicely, applies pressure once again. On every climb, she seems to be doing the exact same thing, just digging and digging. That has to hurt for the 2 tailing, both sitting in her wheel. Not many sections where you can really grab a draft here, but they're traveling at pretty good speeds. And forced to file in here for this drop. So watch Dag. We'll see what they do here heading to the finish line. Coming into the finish. Everyone pushing. Dag out of the saddle, looking to separate. And from this angle, it looks like she's got it. Christensen's falling into second, Lehman in third. Dag pushing. And she's free and solo across the finish line in first. There's a win for Australia, Sylvia Dag. Hannah Christensen filtering in second, Hannah Lehman in third. Representatives from Australia, and then 2 from Ontario taking the podium here in the mountains in Canmore. Hannah Lehman, Collingwood Collective, and Christensen from the Durham Shredders. Imagine she put in some of those efforts at Trail Hub in Uxbridge. See traffic working across there. Charlotte Caners coming across in fourth, also from the Durham Shredders. Sophie Erfel coming through in fifth. Pasowitz from the U.S. coming through in sixth. And coming up there is Anna Silva from their national team. A great effort from those top 3. Everybody competing in this race here in the U17 Expert Women. Silva will be the last on the lead lap as Workman, Grimmett, Emerson, Erfla, and Piper Spengler, Charlotte Clausen all finished laps down. 80% rule applies to these races here in Canmore. The Canmore Mountain Bike Classic presented by Shokz. A great first race to the day. There was a full day of racing yesterday as well, all XCO races.
And while the U17 men assemble, we would like to thank
U17 women
the government
off
of
the course,
Canada
the
for their ongoing
U17 men
support.
settling in.
The Canmore MTB Classic, presented by Shokz, is proudly supported by the government of Canada.
And the Canmore Mountain Bike Classic, presented by Shokz, is proudly supported by the Government of Canada. From challenging trails to unforgettable moments, the Government of Canada's support ensures the race is not just a competition, but a celebration of sport, adventure, and Canadian spirit. Also, the Government of Alberta. Events like this would not be possible without the support of our local governments here in Alberta. The Canmore Mountain Bike Classic, presented by Shokz, thanks the Government of Alberta for their tremendous support to bring this year's event to life. And of course, the title sponsor, Shokz Canada. Canmore Mountain Bike Classic, presented by Shokz Canada, a world leader in open-ear headphone technology. Shokz embodies the principle of being open in everything you do and everywhere you are, whether it be your surroundings, change, new ideas, or exciting adventures. There's a look at the final results for this race. Sylvia Dagg, 1924, coming across the line in first place. Anna Christensen and Hannah Lehman right there with her for the entire 20-minute battle. Dagg just had a little bit more when it came to it at the finish line. There's a reason why she's the Australian national champion in both XCO and XCC. Anna Christensen representing Durham region in Ontario very well. And Hannah Lehman from the Collingwood Collective with the bronze medal. Mentioned Lehman was second at the Canada Cup Sherbrooke last week. 4 Canada Cup podiums in 2026 will now make that 5. 3 of those being wins, and she had 2 wins at Canmore in 2024. Great job by everybody. The gap from first to 6th there, 1:23. And the sun filtering in and out throughout the day, but a 30% chance of rain according to the Weather Network at any given time. It could come down. We don't know. We've had these gusts of wind. Mentioned that it's coming from southwest, and we'll now join PA announcer Ed Renzi for the call-up of the U17 men.
On retrouvera, we have from the Hot Tubes Development Cycling, your yesterday's winner, number 211, Josh Tyers. Number 201 from the Escape Velocity Devo, James Pinfold. Number 220 from the Cycle Meister, Bow Cycle, James Chalky. Number 205 from the Devo Manitoba, Luca Buruk. Number 204 from Canada, Ethan Lambourne. Number 208 from Plan A Racing, Tavin Skippers. Number 277 from the United States of America, Felix Pot. Number 278 from the C4XC Youth Performance Team, Reed McArcher. Number 210 from the USA, Eddie Silva 4. Number 279 from the Team Stampede 5 Valley from the USA, Nico Lorubio. Number 226 from the C4XC Youth Performance, Bruce McPhee. Number 280 from Team SOO, Carter Shea. Number 203 from the Stimulus Track Racing Team, Hedden Rowan. Number 214 from the C4XC, Kai Cameron. His teammate number 217, Hudson Carey. Number 207 from Cyclepath, Everett Ward. Number 206, Callan User. And number 202 from Canada, Luke Mooney. This is your U17 men peloton.
Our apologies to Ed Renzi. That was Mikhail Cote. They'll be splitting the public address duties Here in Canmore at the Canmore Mountain Bike Classic presented by Shokz. I'm Dan Malta, excited to be here on the call as we take a look at the start list for the U17 Expert Men. Should be an exciting one. Josh Tyers, a guy who we're looking at here today. Also former Durham shredder with the Hot Tubes development team now, and he's a guy who just has had an incredible cycling pedigree to this point. The U17 Canadian Gravel National Champion, U17 XCC National Champion, 6th place at Canmore XCC last year, and two XC wins in 2026. So he's a guy who just really has a lot of success at a ton of different levels of cycling. He was 15th overall at the Hell of the North Paris to Ancaster gravel race, the Cento gravel race, and 3rd in the U19 category. Raced a great event near the Peterborough area, the Reggie Ramble event in 2023. I've had a pleasure of competing in that event myself. Unfortunately, didn't happen this year, but a great event in Ontario. Also a former member of the Peterborough Cycling Club, the Coburg Cycling Club. Yeah, a guy who's just really looking impressive in his young cycling career. The rest of the field as well, they'll have something to say about that. James Pinfold, he's 6th in the Canada Cup rankings right now, with Josh Tyers being in 3rd. James Chalky, 11th. We've got 19 athletes competing in this one compared to the 12. Actually, the start list has been updated. We've got 18 competing in this one compared to the 12 that were in that women's U17 XCC short track event, which started our day with a fantastic win from the Australian national champion, Sylvia Dagg. Handful of different countries will be represented throughout the day. In this one here, we've just got Canada or Canadian and American athletes. You can see the state and provincial flags represented. And with over 21,000 associates in 35 countries around the world, Garmin brings GPS navigation and wearable technology to the automotive, aviation, marine, outdoor, and fitness markets, making every day an opportunity to innovate and a chance to beat yesterday. Special thank you to Garmin Canada, gold level sponsor of the 2026 Canmore Mountain Bike Classic, presented by Shokz, and naming partner of the Garmin Grit and Flow feature. Using my Garmin Forerunner 945 to track my walks up to the Canmore Nordic Center today. Lovely trails leading up here across the Bow River, and then getting up to this historic venue, the Canmore Nordic Center, which of course hosted the biathlon and cross-country Olympic events 38 years ago at the Olympics. Waiting for the whistle, and
we are off for
they're
this,
off.
Second start of the day, man. U17
You can see 211 right there in the middle, wearing the Canadian national champion jersey. That's Josh Tyers with a red helmet as he leads around the opening corner, grabs the whole shot, and gets working. An 800-meter course here. Should be quick. See how much time it takes them to get around each respective lap. Pretty bunched up at the front. As they work through that first corner, they're going to try and keep up to this lead group here, and we might get some separation here on this steep little punchy climb into the gradual, and then they drop into that AB line. They'll have to pick an option here. Tyers really pushing as he tries to get up there, but that group sticks to him. Looks like we've got a bunch of about 8 that'll head into this. They'll have to split a third line there as well, as Tyers maintains the lead coming around the bend, and then heading up, well, they'll have to once again file in to take this turn tight. Tyers with a trio of trailers, and there's some separation. The end of this descent, and they've strung out a little bit.
One rider taking the right-hand line took a very far right, which is arguably the longer line.
Tires comes through,
They were up there mashing
holding
the
on to
pedals
first.
and
He's got
almost
one
in
sticking
some
to him.
contact with some of the riders coming down the drop section.
We'll see where they're at as they come through the start-finish line for the first time.
Off the start line is trying to
Still have that tailwind here. You can see those flags really blowing, and I mentioned during the first race of the day that those barriers on the side, they've been taken out by the wind, so the race event organizers doing a good job. You can see them holding on there, just making sure it doesn't blow over again as the athletes come by. And everybody kind of looking around here. This seems tactical.
This field is split in two.
Casually crossing 2:06 the first lap. It's right around a 24-kilometer-an-hour average over this 800 meters with a good amount of elevation. See the rest of the group track through. It's Logan Bullock coming through with tires. $18 racers on the course. This 800-meter track here, as you see it snake through the, you could call it the infield here of the stadium, and now a move on the climb coming out of that little puncher, and then they work. Tires is holding on, following down the line. The two cyclists take the same one. Just trying to catch the names on who else is out there as they head through. Come through to the drop, slight downhill into the climb, tailwind, which should make it seem, though I saw tires take that pretty wide actually. I believe that's 205 Logan Bullock sitting at the front. We've got 203 up there. So that's Hayden Rowan, Stimulus Trek Racing Team. Group of 4 at the front of the race here. We saw this happen in the women's race as well, where it just kept getting weeded out as the race continued. But a great day to put in an effort. 16 degrees, you got some sun, you got some wind, can really push it without overheating here today. And there's really not much need to take on any fuel on a race this short. Don't need to be concerned about feed zones like they would be in the XCO. There's tires putting in some pressure, dragging the group along, and tires taking what looks like might be the longer route. We'll see where he comes out here when they all come back together. Filters through in third, takes the inside and knocks right back on. James Pinfold sitting at the front, right behind 203 Hayden Rowan. Hayden Rowan, James Pinfold, and Josh Tires. And they've been joined by a pair of riders. Pinfold and Rowan head through in the top 2 places, Tires in third, as they descend into what developed into a pretty good sprint finish for the U17 women's race. And you can see the guys taking a peek over their shoulder, trying to gather who's with them. All grouped in together. Pinfold comes through the start-finish line. It looks like he's going to hold on to first as we come back through again. And a big group now as it's turned into a group of, seems like 8 at the front of the race. And just 6 minutes into this one, now a move. Tires sticking to the front. Pinfold and Rowan there as well. Got 204 Ethan Lambourne up there as well. Callan Huser from Altus Racing in the US. Everett Ward, Cyclepath. Eddie Silva, American as well. And that's that top group. So a group of 7. And then Kai Cameron just a few seconds behind them. And then there's a bit of a spread. Tavin Sheepers about 10 seconds back of Cameron, who is holding on to that group. Now we see it turn into a group of 5. Rowan, Tires, Pinfold, Lambourne, and Huser. Seven and a half minutes into the race. Every single time coming down there, Tires taking it really wide. Maybe there's something he likes, maybe a berm that isn't really in there. A group of 5 with 2 trying to bridge the gap. You can see a couple more behind. Tires goes down. So it's not screen gravel they're working with there. They've got some big rocks, and Tires is going to stay on the ground. Looks to be in some pain. So there goes the guy who is Canadian National U17 gravel champion, a guy who's wearing that Canadian red and white, and it leads one man at the front of the race. That's Everett Ward holding on at the front. And we'll see if Everett Ward lets the group come back and join him. Doesn't look like he's applying much pressure here. Might be happy to sit in that group. They can work together to get ahead, but nobody really in behind them. And I think Tires is still down near that finish line. From my position, unfortunately, can't quite tell. Ward holding on to that spacing on that little puncher there. You can see a move made. Kai Cameron trying to jump onto the group as well, but Pinfold, Lambourne. Everett Ward. Holding on to first. He's got a few bike lengths. Ward drops in, and they're coming up to that. You can see Tires in the distance on the left side of your screen, still down on the track, and he went down hard. That would have been a section where they have some good speed, a lot of big rocks, broken off rocks, and then some loose gravel mixed in with that dirt there in that section of the race. Now you can see the guys trying to get a little bit more aero there. Pinfold narrowing his grip on the handlebars. He comes back across first, right around the midway point of this race. Lambourne, Huser, Silva, Ward. So see if Pinfold wants to try and keep putting it down and have a solo break at some point here and separate himself further. He's got a couple of seconds to work with at this point. And that looks like a bit of a burst from Pinfold, just fighting over that climb. Seagull from what looks like a 20-25% grading on that little puncher into what could be a 10-15. So just a surge in heart rate, then you got to try and find a way to recover as you work around and then jump right into another section where you're going to have to apply some pressure into your pedals and try and keep working, or else you're just going to get gobbled up by the rest of the group. But now some separation at the front. Pinfold doing a great job taking all the right lines, and now he's got a chance to recover if he even chooses to. He's not really pedaling hard, takes a peek over his left shoulder, and he'll drop in. Pinfold pushing on the gas after working into that descent. He's got a peek over his shoulder once again. They'll now work into a climb. And you can see Pinfold at the front. He's the guy trying to be cognizant of how aerodynamic he can be, tucking in those arms. The rest of the group trying to grab his wheel. Lambourne up there with Hayden Rowan. Kellen Huser coming across in fourth at this stage. There's another two-pack. Nico LaRubio kind of on an island there. They drop into another section where they'll have to work. And the group has come together. And drop into what I would say is probably the only chance to recover on this entire course. They gather where one another are. Kellen Huser has made his way to the front of the race there, as you can see him in the white helmet, taking a look over his left shoulder. Everybody kind of jockeying now, seeing who's who. To bring it back up for the conclusion of lap 6. And there's Josh Tyers being helped off the track on the right side of your screen. James Pinfold sitting at the front, grabbing a drink. Now in the riders meeting this afternoon, just announced the riders are allowed to discard of bottles or gels in the start-finish area or the feed zone. So there's no feed zone in this race really compared to what there is in the XCO. Just grabbing a sip. And now with a good gap from these top 4 to the rest of the group. They look like they are on a bit of a Sunday ride as they headed down on the opposite side of the start-finish, and now some pressure. Huser setting the tone as he drives up that punchy little climb, and it keeps on going. It only gets harder with time. A couple of guys working to the outside. They come to the option line, drop in. Huser's going to come out of this in front as he sticks to the inside. Pinfold right there with him.
What a great time to capture some pictures. It'll last a lifetime, especially if you post them to Instagram and follow.
Coming right back through. Huser takes the inside.
And on Facebook, Canmore MTB Classic.
And they'll have to filter in again as they come to this drop.
So the previous lap was a little slower than the previous one for the top group. That gave the chance to Kellen Huser to came back on our top 3 leaders.
They filter in and come into this small descent into a gradual climb, probably 4 or 5% gradient with a lovely tailwind up to the finish line.
Play smart, as there's less than 3 laps to go for the
less than 3 laps to go here. U17 expert men. This is the Canmore Mountain Bike Classic presented by Shokz. And what an arena for this event. Be hard-pressed around the world to find something more scenic. And once again, a group posturing. You can see them counting amongst each other. How many laps do we have left? It's a group of 6. A group of 6 that all look to have their legs here. Nobody really applying the pressure. There have been a couple of sections we've seen some attempts at maybe attacks to separate things, but this top 6 all sitting together. Huser, Pinfold, Ward, Lambourne, and Silva.
As we have an attack here in the climb, out of the sail for James Pinfold, tries to break this leading peloton.
Pinfold applying some pressure. Not sure what happened to the other 2. They must have got tangled up at some point, but it's now just a group of 4. It was 6 when they came across the line, and now down to 4 as they come back down through. And 3 taking it at the front. That's Pinfold with the lead as he drops in here. And right on his horse as he gets into this slight descent into the climb up to the finish line, the 800-meter track here. That Pinfold applying the watts through his pedals. 6 bike length separation between 1 and 2. Rowan and Huser fighting to get back up there and attach themselves to the wheel of Pinfold. It's coming down to it here. And if they stay separated like that, it's anybody's game. Well, it's Pinfold's game. He's got this separation.
This is the final one, folks. Come on down to the line and give them a cheer. We're about to find
You can
out
see
the
2
winner
and
of our
3
U17
breathing a little bit heavy.
And with 1.5 laps to
Rowan
go,
and
James
Huser,
Pinfold,
a couple of
but
seconds
the
back of
underdog
James
in the front
Pinfold.
tries to keep up with the pace. Et avec le tour et demi restant, James Pinfold qui est allé plein gaz dans la montée pour lancer les hostilités.
And Pinfold now with a big gap here as Huser and Rowan are working off one another. They're battling to try and catch up with Pinfold. They're actually taking ground here on this climb. Pinfold gets to the top, and there's the spread as he drops down.
So battle will be for the second place.
Yeah, Pinfold, big separation here, might be too much, and I think that's Huser who just took a great line down that drop, and he's got a couple of bike lengths on Rowan as they work back into another climb and then slide in to a descent before the drop. And James Pinfold coming off first place finish at the XCO in Langford at the Canada Cup. 2 Canada Cup podiums, 2026. He's heading towards his 3rd. And there will be no catching James Pinfold. He just needs to make sure he keeps 2 wheels on the dirt and pushes forward. Huser and Rowan coming through in 2nd and 3rd. And James Pinfold. Actually, Huser, nice surge at the end, but it's James Pinfold, hands on his head, and then taking a deep breath. Coming through in 1st place for the 3rd time this year at a Canada Cup event. James Pinfold, Callan Huser, Hayden Rowan. There's your podium, 1, 2, and 3. Huser, the American from Altus Racing. Yeah, great race from the guys, and Josh Tyers going down. Obviously tough for him, and hopefully he's going to be okay. Hopefully he'll be able to compete in the XCO event on Saturday, but we saw him getting taken off with the medics. You never like to see somebody go down like that, especially if they're going to be wearing that Maple Leaf red and white. So that's it for the U17s. The next event that we'll work into here will be the U19 women, then the U19 men, and then we'll get into the U23 and elite women and wrap it up 7:30. It's going to be a long day of cycling. And we welcome in a guest here. We got the
I can't hear you.
Oh, we're just going to work on just a minor technical thing here. We've got Ron now, I think.
Yeah, am I here?
I think we've got Ron. All right, we got Ron.
I'm doing well, doing very well.
So you've been running around all week,
I've been
making
running.
sure this works out.
Yeah, it's been quite the week actually. You know, just getting all the course set up and getting this whole expo set up and everything, and it's been a busy week.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you see something like this, I'm sure it feels like it's worth it. Well, I hope it feels like it's worth it. Maybe that's actually something that comes after Saturday.
Yeah, no, it totally feels like it's worth it. It's I don't know. There is something just about, you know, looking across and seeing people, you know, getting ready for their event, training, seeing the racers lining up, and enjoying themselves. You know, I just get so many positive feedback from racers. It's very satisfying.
Here with Ron Sadesky, the organizer of this great event, the Canmore Mountain Bike Classic, presented by Shokz. I'm Dan Malta. Happy to have you tuning in from wherever you are. A handful of countries represented. We got Australia, New Zealand, Chile, Brazil, a Brazilian champion yesterday in the XCO women's event.
She looks so great.
Yeah.
So strong, yeah.
Yeah, 35 years old and putting in work out there as well, and a ton of wins. I think it was her 86th professional win, perhaps. But yeah, incredible career. The U17s, they went for it there. Were you watching the race, or were you running all over?
I was running around a little bit, but I managed to catch bits and pieces there. But yeah, it looks like James put on a clinic there.
Yeah, and coming up there with the tailwind, I was talking about this during both races, but just these gusts of wind, and you said they come through Canmore all the time.
Yeah.
I know they're using deep section wheels or anything, but the wind can still contact you in some kind of way that could throw you off a line. And right in front of where we're sitting, it's mostly screen light gravel. But down there coming up to the finish line, it's pretty technical. You got some big chunks. Could that have been maybe what the challenge was for Josh Tyers? Just didn't hit the right line and went down.
Yeah, possibly. You know, I mean, there's the wind, the gusts sometimes come up. I mean, we've had to brace all the fencing. You know, you learn the first gust that comes through, and a couple fences go down. So I mean, absolutely. Gosh, if a good gust came, it could really affect the rider. And yeah, on that variable terrain, oh, absolutely.
And if anybody's tuned into the event YouTube page, you would see, this is from last year, but your son Logan Sadesky with the POV of the XCO course, which is really cool. And he's talking you through it the entire time, taking you through all the named sections. And for him to get a chance to come back and do a race like this, where he won last year, and you get to see that, what's that like for you guys as a family?
Oh man, it's so much fun. Yeah, you know, just actually going back to the video, I thought he did such a fantastic job of that, and it really gives you a good flavor of the course. Like anybody who wants to know what this course is like, just watch that video, because it really does give you exactly what the flavor of the course is, and he gives you all the little hints about about how to ride it too. So
gives you the names, gives you everything.
Yeah. But you know, it's it's been super fun watching Logan. He just loves racing so much, you know, and it's you know, he's been sort of slow and steady throughout his whole racing career, and to see him kind of win at his home course was pretty special for sure.
All right, now we're going to take a quick break in here. We're going to join Mikhail Cote. He's going to be announcing the call-ups for the U19 women's XCC short track race that we've got coming up right now.
Number 111 from Charge Racing, Lacey Dennis.
Okay.
Le numéro
Just make
133 du Québec de Pit Stop Racing Team, Eliane Blais. Le numéro 117 de l'équipe du Québec Mont Vélo, Elisabeth Martin. Number 132 from the Wild Rockies Racing USA, Payette Spengeburg. Number 119, le numéro 119, Sierra Jolicoeur de l'Académie Vélo Mont-Tremblant. Number 138 from the Collingwood Collective, Ollie Moore. From the Donovan Racing, number 109, Katja Opfer from the USA. Number 116 from Bear National Team, Nora Cruz. Number 101 from the Ruta Devo, Sammy Bradley. From the Gravity Academy, Sofia Flipkevich. From the Shredders Race Team, Canada, Alexa Avelin, number 125. Number 123, Emma Deli from USA. Number 124 from the Shredders Race Team, Claire Ober. Number 139, Aislinn Ass from the USA. Number 107 from Donovan Racing, Hazel Lizar. Numéro 118 de Rakutra Canoe Stratus, Alexandre Arpin. Number 106, Julia Lehman from Canada. Number 110 from Charge Racing, Brooke Bates. Number 131 from USA, Addison Haga. Number 114 from Team Bear Devo USA, Grattan Dome. Number 120 from the Wild Rockies Racing, Molly Young. Number 122 from segment 28 USA, Malia Brock. Number 102 from Stimulus Trek, Claire McKinnon. From the OZ Racing USA, Amy Boyle. Number 136, Nicole Clement. Number 138 from the Wild Rockies, Hella Boyd and Maria Dickinson, her teammate from Flea Fight Elite, Chloe Harris Bangan. Number 104, 135, Anil, and 140, Galen Teller from the USA.
Thank you to Mikael. He and Ed Renzi will be splitting the public address duties here at the Canmore Mountain Bike Classic, presented by Shokz at the Canmore Nordic Center, 1988 Olympic Way. I'm Dan Malta, alongside the organizer, the guy who brought this thing to life, and Ron. We were just talking about your son, Logan Sadesky, just how he did that great video detailing what the XCO course looks like. That was 2025. I also saw yesterday he took the Strava KOM for the 2026 course.
Okay.
Coming in
Nice.
second in the Wednesday race, but still it took the Strava KOM. Or was it sorry, I think Sippy actually took it in the end. But on his first time through, I think he took the KOM.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, all these segments and all these trails here in Canmore. And you've traveled to Europe, you've seen the World Cup races on the international stage, and you believe that this should be a World Cup venue.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think that we could make an... I mean, we've got the technical nature of a World Cup course here. You know, a few tweaks that we'd have to do to widen it out and such, but I mean the whole facility here, not just the course itself, but the whole facility is world class. So it'd be a lot of work, but a lot of fun if we could do that.
Yeah, the infrastructure is certainly here when you're coming off of an Olympic event, and something I didn't find out until I got here. I saw those Olympic rings and I figured they'd been here forever, but they were just added in March.
I know, right?
Yeah.
They're only, what is that, 38 years late, but better late than never.
I understand they are called spectaculars when they're placed there like that on display.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, here at the Canmore Nordic Center, a recent addition, and it's just actually beyond the shot that you'd be seeing right now, which is the start-finish line. So to the right of that is where the Olympic rings are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And we wait for the whistle here for the U19 women.
We are off
and
for the
they are off to the races here.
Short track.
The junior U19s. This should be another good one. This is the biggest field we've had so far today, 32 athletes compared to the 18 in the U17 men's and 12 in the U17 women. So they come around in a big group. Looks almost like a peloton here.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll thin out as we get through this backstretch.
I just find it so interesting, you know, the different tactics that, you know, the racers employ. I mean, sometimes you see this, you know, someone rips off the front, tries to get an advantage. Sometimes actually a couple of years ago, Cameron Jones from New Zealand did that right off the first lap and held everyone off for the entire race. But you know, most often they'll regroup and it becomes so tactical. Like it's such a fun race to watch.
Yeah, it's a 20-minute effort. It's different than doing your 20-minute FTP test on Zwift, because you're gonna have the punches, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna hit you. And some names to look out for. Speaking of New Zealand, Kaylee McMillan from Performance Racing, a two-time New Zealand U19 national champion at XCO. just checked out her page on Instagram. Happy to wear that Fern jersey was one of her captions there. But yeah, New Zealand national champion. Last race we had an Australian last women's race we had an Australian national champion. But we'll try and catch these numbers. We won't have the actual positioning until they go through that start-finish line the finish line, with the start being about 150 meters roughly ahead of that finish. And when you guys were picking this course, it's 800 meters. Why did you land on this setup?
Well, that's a great question. We did a couple iterations, and things. We actually, the first time we did it, we made them climb a little more than we should on a short track, and then we actually saw, we were down in Hardwood Hills in Ontario, watching the national championships a few years ago, and they had this really neat little kind of rock log drop feature, and that's where we came up with the idea of the gargoyle is what we call it, and that's the feature kind of halfway through the course where they go down that steep bank.
And you can see them coming across this finish line, still in a large group, too many to count.
Yeah.
I think we'll do some subtraction here. Seems like probably 10 coming through outside of that lead group, so we'll guess it's 22 all working together at the front of the race, and nobody really applying that pressure right here coming through on the second lap.
Not yet. Yeah.
So it's a wait and see. We're going to see who tries to attack, who tries to shake things up. And I guess at these U19, U17 levels, you might not have the recon of your competitors that you would at the elite or the U23. You've known these athletes a little bit less, so you're waiting to see who might have what. Like, there's all the information available online, but still a challenge. It's Lacey Dennis who came across the line first from Charge Racing. She was second at the Canada Cup in Langford at the XCC, and three-time winner at Canmore in 2024. So somebody who's familiar with the venue. A time of 2:15 on that opening lap, and by my math, it's around a 22-kilometer-an-hour average on this course.
Yeah,
so
right. Yeah.
Seems pretty
good.
Pretty speedy going around here. And then sections like this to really thin it out.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to bring them up, but then getting them down, right? And it's trying to do something. We didn't want to just keep it a ski trail. We wanted to make there to be a little bit of a challenge, and we actually tape it really wide around that corner, but everybody wants to take the inside line. It's obviously going to be the fastest, but sometimes when it gets a little crowded, sometimes taking that wide line is helpful.
We saw, I guess there's a third line at another drop through.
Right.
And I've seen that taken twice so far today. Just two separate athletes on two separate occasions, and those were the only times.
So that particular feature, and that's the gargoyle feature I was talking about earlier. And it's a great story, actually. Matt Hadley, who I think will join you on Saturday.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah. He helped us actually build that, design and build that feature. And he was the one who said, if you're separating the two lines, you need some sort of something to separate them out, and he just threw out the word gargoyle. You need like a gargoyle in front.
Okay.
So, of course, we had to call it the gargoyle.
Well, it was Josh Tyers who took it in the U17 men's. Unfortunately, he was a DNF in that race, and you can see this bunch still working hard, and this little punch into that climb. I'm just estimating it from about a 20% punch into a 10% gradient up to the top. It looks, that's hard.
Yeah, I bet it's even more than 20. Yeah.
And then here's the gargoyle section.
Yep.
You were just talking about, Ron, and then working to the inside. They come around this bend, an opportunity to take the racing line after this U-turn here, and then turn it into a bit of a chicane if you're solo and just slide right through. And we'll see Elaine Blay take that exact line right now. And a chance to recover here. It's
little
the one respite.
Chance to recover, yeah, no, for sure. And then just gotta keep the rubber side down, coming around this kind of loose, rocky corner and descent. And
yeah, if you try and grab too much speed going down that hill here.
Yeah.
Taking this turn wide here.
Yeah.
I think by the end of the day, there could be a berm there.
Could be, yeah. There's just definitely a bit of dust kicking up. We could use a little bit, or just a little bit of rain, not too much,
Well,
but a little
the
bit.
weather report today is a 30% chance of rain, and it says on the Weather Network website it could come down at any time. Looking at the sky, I have no idea how to predict the weather here. You mentioned you lived here for 25 years, so you would be the expert on that. I don't know if anybody can actually be an expert.
Yeah, it's not going to rain.
Okay. It was Lacey Dennis coming through the finish line in first, as she did on the opening lap as well. We're 6.5 minutes into this 20-minute race, and it looks like the riders are still taking their breaks, picking their spots, and eventually we're going to see something give here. Somebody's going to try and make a move.
Yep. Yeah, and you know, talking about the gargoyle before there, a couple of years ago we actually had an adaptive category. So we had some power assist hand crank.
I saw them here on Wednesday.
Right, yeah, and so they were actually hoping to get a few athletes that they could race here again. But we built that third line just without anything technical. We built that for them.
Okay.
So that they could actually participate in this race. But we found out it's perfect for, and actually it's the next race that we'll see the junior men. Last year they got quite congested on the first lap.
Okay.
So I'll be curious to see if, you know, the athletes want to, if they're going to wait or if they're going to take that other line.
Yeah,
you know, you can see there's a little bit of waiting going on. I wonder if just ripping down that other line would actually be faster. But
And a change at the front of the race as well, as Dennis has slipped into second. Elaine Blay, I believe, is who has worked into first, and I think they trade places again. Yeah, it's Blay and Dennis at 1 and 2. And just peeking over their shoulder as they descend here. Everybody taking those deep belly breaths as they drop in. And then just a slight descent here, try and build some of that momentum, I guess, as you head towards. So a sprint finish in that first race, that was great. Three cyclist sprint finish, that was outstanding. And then the second race, more of a solo, but it was Huser, the American, who actually closed that gap. It looked like he was going to be 3-4 seconds back, but brought it back up to the finish line.
Yeah. No, this is the way I like to see a short track. You know, and they're bunched together and they're being very tactical. You know, no one's trying to just, you know, physically just force, you know, something. And I love that shot, right? Of just the riders all coming at you like that.
And Armada working forward. One of the teams here at this event as well.
We can see on the flat
and we see our handheld camera in tight there as well, getting up close and personal, seeing that dust kick up. Lacey Dennis remains at the front of the race. Elaine Blay from Quebec sitting in second, and then Scout Wellmeyer, Alexa Haviland, Ellie Moore, Claire Halber, Graydon Dowm, Alexanne Arpin, Nora Cruz, Hazel Lazar, Julia Lehman, Nicole Kallman, Kaylee McMillan, Molly Yunt, Payette Spanberg, Sammy Bradley, Mariah Dickerson, Emma Daly, Ainsley Haas, Elizabeth Martin, Sierra Jolasur, Claire McKinnon, Malia Brock, Addison Hogg, Ella Voigt, Penelope Stewart, Galen Teller, and Neil. That rounds out everybody else who was in this one. We had a few did not start, but it was initially a 32 athlete group.
From the Shredders race team.
There's the midway point to the race. And we're hearing from Ed Renzi, a crash on the gargoyle. You can see the cyclists regathering themselves, getting back on their bikes. I don't think that was impacting the front of the race.
No, that did not, no.
This is certainly a spot to watch.
Now through 10 minutes, I would just guess that maybe we're going to see 5 separate at the front here, and it might work back a little bit. What's the feedback been so far after a couple of days of the athletes being here?
Yeah, I've got a ton of very positive feedback. So I think, you know, what people like about coming here is they can really work on their technical skills as a mountain biker, and I think you know, it just helps them race in other venues. We have technical ups, technical downs, just so much for them to learn on, and yeah, just to experience a good technical course like this. It's really about a lot of development teams come here.
We've got 4 laps to go here. Lacey Dennis, Graydon Dahm, Elaine Blais at the front of the race. We're a little bit out of sync with what we'd be seeing on Zone 4 as far as the official timing is concerned. So we'll try and use our eyes here and track who's at the front of the race. They bring it back up, that punch, and then it just keeps on going as they work. You can see half the cyclists pushing up and out of their saddles intermittently there, getting up to this option line, and then they drop in and work it back up again. And this event wouldn't be possible without its great sponsors, Shimano Canada being one of those. For more than 100 years, Shimano has been dedicated to creating industry-leading cycling components and accessories. Much of this effort centers around Shimano's system engineering approach, where products are designed to seamlessly work together for the best possible on-bike experience. Thank you to Shimano Canada, silver-level sponsor of the 2026 Canmore Mountain Bike Classic, presented by Shokz. And if you're going to be attending, they've got a booth here at the expo, which looks great as well, Ron.
Yeah, and they're actually even providing neutral support. So anyone have a problem with their bike, they can bring it over and they'll fix it for them.
Well, that's great to see. The Shimano blue flags and the blue tent from our broadcast position inside.
Yeah.
Which I was relieved to hear when you told me that when we talked on Monday. I thought we might be outside for this and unpredictable. Who knows what was going to happen?
Nice and cozy in here. Yeah.
And that's Lacey Dennis still sitting at the front.
Also check out a limited supply of the 2025 merch at a killer discount.
Kind of the tip of the spear as they all filter in.
Lacey, Elaine.
Well, still 15
large group again, 13 and a half minutes as they work around the first turn following that finish line. It's a gradual right turn similar to what you'd see on a 400-meter track if you were just out for a run.
Yeah, it's you know, Nordic Center's done a little bit of work here over the past few years, and yeah, the scramble have actually created a nice kind of start-finish straight away.
Jusqu'à présent dans cette course, la deuxième qui n'est pas.
Have you rode this track?
So the question right now,
have you personally rode this setup? Have you experienced it before?
I have, but at a very leisurely pace.
It's all relative to what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I try. You know, it's funny. I try to ride some of the stuff, but it's getting a little beyond what I'm willing to put myself through.
So far in this
understandable.
race, a second is not. Impossible.
But yeah, just even trying to figure out, you know, cornering and such like that. Yeah, we'll do a little bit of that. And actually, most of the time I rely on riders who are pre-riding a course
on their recon and their feedback.
Yeah, exactly.
And yesterday at the XCO event, something you don't see often, I guess, anywhere else, but a bear on the course, which was a delay of about 40 minutes for one of the events. Is the 2 p.m. race yesterday, and a big delay. There was a bear and 2 cubs, I understand, on the course.
3 cubs, actually.
3 cubs, okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just one of those things, right? And it actually went off the course, about 50 meters off the course, and then it decided to just hunker down. And from what we heard, because the conservation officers went up there, the bear was actually feeding its cubs, right?
Oh, okay.
And so, but you know, I think that's part of the beauty of being here, right? I mean, it's a provincial park, it's the Rocky Mountains. I mean, that's the kind of stuff we have to deal with. And, you know, if it means delaying the race an hour, you know, I think it was handled very well. And I'm happy we were able to do that, actually.
I was happy to experience it.
Right.
I noticed today the bear in area signs as I walked up the hill to here, and it's still Lacey Dennis at the front of the race with Elaine Blais. 1 and 2. The rest of that group still sitting there. And traveling at this speed, I think around 20 kilometers an hour, I guess, drafting becomes a factor in a race like this.
No, for sure.
Just again, they're moving probably
the
between
U17
20 and 24, 25 kilometers an hour on average around here. So that's going to come in this bunch. So sitting in there might be a chance to gather some energy.
It will be interesting. You know, it seems like Lacey Dennis has been, you know, leading this race for most of it, and Will, having been at the front and not been able to draft, you know, hurt her in that, because I'm sure there'll be a sprint here at the end.
And a big sprint.
Yeah.
Like and the effort that'll take, I guess, if they're in a group like this when it comes down to it. Sitting here in roughly a 10-pack, just by a quick judge with my eye, they have to go down to single file before they go into that descent into the climb to the finish. So the effort, if you're in 4th or 5th, a real test to get up.
For sure, and sometimes it looks like there's a little bit of effort going on the front. So now for that you know, group to now stay on and yeah, we definitely get some separation there. See if it's real.
That's Scout Wellmeyer dropping in first.
Okay.
And now it's 2 that are kind of separating themselves. We'll see who's with Scout at the front of the race when we get a shot of them coming up to the finish line as they work through the start area. Slight descent into that climb. Elaine Blais. Okay, California and Quebec at the front of the race.
As we invite you guys to cheer them on as they come.
And from this perspective, it looks like they're closer than they are. We'll get a really good idea. They're about to come right by our broadcast position. So we're about 20 meters beyond the finish line as we take a look at them in front of us right now. Yeah, 1 and 2, Blais and Wellmeyer really tight, and probably 15 bike lengths separating them from Lacey Dennis at the front of that group in 3rd place. And Dennis has a bit of a separation herself on what would be 4th place. So Blaine and Wellmeyer coming down to it here. It looks like they're going to be the 2 deciding who finishes first and who finishes second, unless something happens at the front of the race. And a little bit of work there, yeah, and that bump, a little bit of a kicker jump for them to get through. And you can see Wellmeyer and Blais working hard to stick to one another.
It looks like they both like that left line.
Spinning out at the front of the race, Wellmeyer and Blais. Unseated climb as she's in pursuit, sticking to that wheel. And Dennis has now fallen into 5th. There's a change at the podium. Wellmeyer trying to gap Blais. They come through here. And this is going to be the finish. Wellmeyer and Blais.
Yeah, there they go.
Scout Wellmeyer in 1st. Elaine Blais in 2nd. And they push. They're right beside each other coming down to the finish.
Smokes.
What a sprint we've got here.
Oh, my Lord.
Wellmeyer takes it. They both celebrate, but Scout Wellmeyer with the celebration. Elaine Blais celebrating like she took first, ecstatic with the 2nd place finish.
Right.
And Ellie Moore rounding out the podium. California, Quebec, and Ontario. 1, 2,
Oh, Lacey Dennis 6th there,
3.
yeah. Whew, that was a good one. You always want to see that sprint, hey? I mean, it's you know, it's nice to see someone, you know, put an effort in.
Just that feeling of, there's no more left here. And
Yeah.
at the end of a 20-minute race and just pushing everything they have.
You know, and that's the thing about our straightaway. Sometimes I think it's hard to judge, you know, okay, when do I actually start?
Yeah.
Because, you know, and so it's interesting. That was a long sprint. I'm sure they were pretty tired.
They all have electronic shifting, and it's going to be fast and dialed, but going from that descent into a climb, there's a challenge. If you don't hit that right gear when the sprint starts, you might be toasted.
For sure, for sure.
Nothing worse than standing up and spinning. But yeah, hey, that was a fun finish. Another one. The 2 women's races so far today have been exciting sprints to the end.
Yeah, no, that was a good one.
As the rest of these cyclists start working across the line, take a moment once again to thank the sponsors for this great event, the Canmore Mountain Biking Classic presented by Shokz. Shokz, the title sponsor. Violet Farms. Over the past 2 decades, Violet Farms has become one of the largest growers of almonds and walnuts in the United States, a longtime supporter of the North American mountain bike community. The Canmore Mountain Bike Classic presented by Shokz is proud to welcome Violet Farms as a silver-level sponsor of the 2026 event. Thank you to Violet Farms for your gracious support. Also, Rebound Cycle. Established in the mid-1990s, Rebound Cycle is one of Canada's premier bike shops, located right here in Canmore, known worldwide for top-quality bikes, parts, rentals, and staff with outstanding customer service. Special thank you to Rebound Cycle for their support of the entire 2026 Alberta Cup Mountain Bike Series. As we take a look at the results filtering in, it was Scout Wallmeyer coming through in first, and I checked out her Instagram page as well. She likes to call herself a professional pain cave diver.
Whoa.
So she was spelunking into the pain cave pretty good there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, she was.
And part of Bear National U23 National Racing. Alexa Haviland in fourth, Ellie Moore in third, the Collingwood Collective. And rounding out the top 10, Payette Spanger from Wild Rockies Racing. Yeah, really exciting race. As we wrap that one up, we've got the men's U19 coming up.
Yeah, and it was the junior men here, U19 men that last year. We'll see the start list here. I mean, there's going to be probably 60 riders. 46, okay.
Well, actually, looks like 2 have been added from last count, 48 cyclists on this one.
Yeah, and the that third line on the gargoyle. I hope that they use it because they did get bunged up there a little last year. Do we have to?
Oh, and we're going to join the Michael Cote with the announcements of the athletes for this race. Thank you for the reminder.
24 de l'équipe du Québec 224, Louis-Carl Ménard. Number 105, Rain Jones. From Stimulus Trek, de la formation Ciboire qui roule, le 136, Andy Donovan. Number 143 from Team Soho, Jude Marsden. Number 162 from Collingwood Collective, William McFarlane. Number 138 from the Wild Rockies, Eden Deja. Number 135 from Canada, Callum Irwin. Number 119 from the United States of America, Logan Drivlow. Number 147 from Team So, Isa Ward. Number 152, Joaquin Salas from T-Bear Devo. Le numéro 137 de Ciboire qui roule, Maxime Carrier. Le numéro 121, William Hull. Number 118 for Bear Devo, James Milham. Number 117, 117, Antoine Massicotte. Le numéro 115 de Sigma Assurance, Maxime Merlin. Number 128 from Donovan Racing, Dylan Reed. Number 112 from USA, Park Bishop. Number 144 from Soho, Henry Stevens. Number 155, Eric Warren. Number 156, Larix Allett. From the USA, number 105, Flint Drummond. From the Gravity Academy, Dylan Hall. From Team Bear Devo, 149, Jack Billowitz. Le numéro 125, Antoine Gervais du CVM 3R. Number 133, Donovan Racing, Captain O'Neill. Le 122 du Canada, Isaac Joron. Number 163, Korsinki. Number 146 from Team Soho, Jasper Armstrong. His teammate, Asa Poulet, number 148, number 175, David Cobion, number 159, Asher Ben-Simon from Shredder's Race Team, from Contour Racing, Maddox Stomin from the Cycle Meister, Liam Bate du CVM Club Skinook, Tristan Wagner, le 126, number 103, Evan Tattle from Canada, from Canada also 172. Huge McDougal 101 from Devo. Max Rinzema, number 102 from the Shredders. Sailor Verbeek 155 from Team Bear Devo. Pearson Vox, number 107 from USA. Jack Kinneman, number 157 from Acid Cycle. Connor Dool, number 145. Emmett Smith from the Wild Rockies Racing. So this is it, ladies and gents, your 48 athletes for this Canada Cup Canmore short track event. They are all lined up. They are all ready for a 20 minutes race.
Welcome back, and thank you to Mikhail Cote. He and Ed Renzi will be sharing the public address duties throughout the events here at the Canmore Mountain Bike Classic, presented by Shokz. Dan Malta and Ron Sadesky sitting comfy and cozy indoors. You can see the breeze has actually shifted directions. It looks like it might be a headwind coming up to the finish line. Now started the day with it being 14 kilometers an hour heading southwest, and now it appears to have flipped.
Oh my gosh, Canmore, you know, you just never know from 1 minute to the next.
It's making it pretty interesting, and just where we're situated, from our broadcast position, we're staring west at some daunting mountains. Where we're at about 1,400 meters above sea level, and then the highest peaks in Canmore, more than 1,000 meters beyond that.
Yeah, no, it is, yeah. And yeah, they're pretty spectacular, that's for sure. We got, we're looking at the east end of Mount Rundle here, and on the right, and we got Haling on the left there, and they're both popular scrambling and actually full climbing, these cliffs here. Yeah, we got many rock climbing routes up there as well.
That is outstanding, and that's right beyond these cyclists here. And it's kind of oriented to how we're sitting, and then this would be to our broadcast right as we look down at the start line. They'll wait for that whistle getting through to it, and if you've been tuning in or enjoying any of the races so far, we've seen a couple of sprint finishes in the U17 women's and U19 women's races. The U19 men's came down to two guys at the end, but a bit of a gap. It seemed like about a 2-second separation. And this is the biggest field we've seen. The fields keep getting bigger. We went from 12 to 18 and then 32 and now 48 from what we're seeing on the official start list.
Yeah, like I was saying just before, I'd be really curious to see if they're going to use that third line on the gargoyle, because I mean, we like I say, it's there partially because we don't want people, you know, standing waiting, right? And so I hope people use it, and I think if they do, they'll actually they'll be way further ahead than if they just stop.
And Ethan Wood was out there wearing his Team Canada gilet. I think he's taking it off now.
Oh, right.
But yeah, a guy who you got to look for out here is 7th place at the 2025 XCO Worlds. So on the international stage, making his mark, #1 UCI World Junior ranking. That's who's out here right now and competing, and just the pedigree of Canadian cyclists. When you look out there on the world stage right now, Isabella Holmgren took the white jersey at the Giro d'Italia. So she's a former cyclist who competed right here as well.
She competed right here, yeah.
And the type of talent that you'll see on the world stage, a lot of them seem to be coming from a mountain biking background. It could just be more infrastructure, but they're off to the races here. I know Josh Tyre is a guy who competes in Coburg Criteriums back in Northumberland County, where he's from in Ontario, and this is a big group as they roll through here.
It is. Yeah, you know, you're talking about Ethan. You know, he yesterday at the XCO, he put down a sub 13-minute lap, and you know, there's only a couple of elites who put down a lap time that fast. So he's a real force.
And we will wait to find out who is taking the lead here coming through, but yeah, it's going to take until we get to that finish line to know what the times are, who came through first. But a good group here coming up, and you can see 2 lines taken. Ron, there's your third
there.
Ron.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, 1.
Looks like 2 have gone over, and while it is bunching up, we won't see that right now from what we're looking at. But Evan Moore in third caught his number. And that's Louis-Carl Menard leading the race. Try and get a look at the front of the bikes here as well. And you know that every cyclist hates having that square plate at the front of their bike, but that's the rules, right?
That's the way we know who they are.
You can see in all the gravel races, they're trying to bend them around the frame of the bike to be more aero, but. Okay, who's coming up here?
Yeah, it's kicking up the dust, isn't it?
Got Menard in second. And yeah, being in the middle of that pack, you're chewing on sand when you take a breath.
Yeah.
We'll wait and see who comes through to gather before we say any names incorrectly here. They're in a group. You can see the guys at the front narrowing their hands on the handlebars, trying to stay aero with the tip of the spear. Right. And they come through in a bunch and really pushing to the outside here. It's probably some loose gravel that's been cooked up. You can see that inside line as they come around the bend. Looks like it's pretty raw down to the dirt on the outside. Seems a little bit risky to take that outside line.
Yeah, no, it definitely gets, you can see where the riders are riding, you know, after a couple of laps for sure.
So Evan Moore, 2 minutes on the opening lap. This is an 800-meter course. Do the math, there's 24 kilometers an hour. Good pace for the opening lap to get through, and they've got to establish position here. You can see some cyclists getting kicked out to the outside off the track, outside of those pylons.
That's a big field.
And over the rocks or slipping to the outside.
Okay,
the leaders taking options A and B.
Yeah, and you can see there's a couple who are, there's a few now going down the other line, so that's good. That's good. I mean, it's going to be a little slower, but it's going to be faster than if you wait in line. So.
Carl Menard remains in second. Evan Moore at the top. A little bit of a spread as they'll thin out, and each continuous lap it'll thin out and thin out and thin out as they come through that drop. That seems to be a deciding moment on this course as it leads into the descent and climb up to the finish line. And once again, you can see the guys getting aero tucked. I expected to maybe see more like aero-style helmets out here today. With it being, it's kind of cold. You don't really need the ventilation.
Interesting. I wonder if that's going to be a thing at some point. Yeah, it probably just depends on the course, too.
I did see a handful while they were out there training with almost a full shell. But
yeah.
And Moore holds on, and after 2 laps, looks like he heated it up a little bit on that second lap. Okay, so Evan Moore, Rain Jones, Michael Zymek from Bear National Team in the States, Maxime Carrier from Canada coming through in 4th, Louis-Carl Menard in 5th, Maxime Merlin coming through in 5th, and Joaquin Salas, the American, trailing them. And then it's Dylan Hall, and that's kind of that front bunch. So we're continuing to enjoy the great action here from Canmore as we see them come down that descent before the climb. And at the front of the race, a good separation now.
Yeah, I guess Evan's going for it.
Yeah, I think more early in the race, inside 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just the fitness he has. Maybe he was taking it easy yesterday.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, it's you try something, see if it works, and I guess we'll see if he can hold on. That's a long time trial. Especially with it's not being steady state time trial efforts, right? Like this is that's right. Yeah.
So many bullets in the chamber, so many matches to light. Pick your saying, it applies to all levels of cycling, but on a course like this, 800 meters, working around, and your longest chance to take a break is going to be 20, 30 seconds, if you're lucky. Yeah, Evan Moore.
So it's interesting. I'm not seeing Ethan Wood on the results.
No, maybe we saw him toe the line no, he did not start.
Oh, okay.
Did not start.
There you go.
So Ethan Wood was on the line. We saw that Team Canada jersey, and for some reason did not start the race.
Yeah, it looks like we got a little effort to catch up to the leader there, so that's good. We got a pack of 3 now.
It'll make things interesting. It's still 13 minutes to go, and we don't know where they're at. We don't know if they're redlining or if they're just having a nice threshold effort right now. Not that that's a nice effort, but the guys at the front working, taking a chance to gather their breath.
I think they're settling in a bit here,
We saw more so in the U17 men's race, where the front bunch was doing a lot of this, taking a peek over their shoulders, seeing who's with me. We even saw the guys saying how many laps they had left together and sharing information. So they were all working together, and now we've got, a group of 4 off the front, and this angle a bit deceiving. As we look at them head on, we'll get a better idea as they approach our broadcast position here at the Canmore Nordic Center.
Yeah, that's quite the gap that they're opening up on the rest of the group there.
Yeah, that was a good angle of it to give you a perspective. And yeah, this group of 4 they're all holding each other's wheels pretty good. And then coming through in 5th there, number 143, Jude Marsden from Team Soho. So we got a group of 4 at the front of the race as we see the rest of the cyclists filter through, kicking up dust as they go, and the line's really developing. You can see the bald spots in the gravel. Yeah, 2 lines through there, and then the loose gravel right in between. It's a bit chaotic. And either somebody is caught up here, or they've caught a lapped rider, but no, now it's a pack of 5.
It's pack of 5 now,
That's what you want to see, position changes and everybody trying to push everybody else to the edge.
Yeah, I think that's what I love about the race, is that you just, there's so many different tactics you can use. And, I'm sure that Evan was maybe trying to push it, see what these guys had, and can they keep up with them? Or could he open up a bigger gap? And, it's just great to see them, and even, working now. Yeah, we'll see if they work together and keep going as a pack.
So you get direct access to, I guess, a tactical expert in your son, Logan Sadesky, on things like this. And talking about XCO versus XCC, completely different efforts, right? But his theories, his attacks, his process for something like this, has he shared something like that with you?
I would say Logan has maybe traditionally been a little more conservative and would not try to push that pace, or he would prefer to hang on and stay in a pack, and he's got some good legs for the sprint usually, so that usually works for him. I think he also likes to try different things.
Another Logan came through at the top of the race as well. That was Logan Drevlo. Speaking of Logans, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, there's a few of them out there.
And you wanted to give a shout out as well to Larix Hallett.
Absolutely, yeah.
Local rider?
Yeah, Larix. So, he's been riding. I think this is his first year as a junior, and he's been part of the local Run the Mountain Cycling Club, and his dad Doug is actually on the board of our race association, and a big part of setting this course as well.
Here at the midway point of the U19 men's XCC race here, a 20-minute race. And they're on lap 4, and this is a group of 4 at the front of the race. Leading the way, Logan Drevlo, the American. And these guys filtering in, and Seems like it's gonna be a 5-6 second count before we see anybody else even come around that bend. Longer.
Yeah.
These guys have really separated.
I missed what happened because it was 5 a lap ago, so I missed what happened to the 5th rider there.
So we've got 4 on an island, and there's 5 solo as well. So at this point, the top 4 can probably sit in one another's wheels and just posture for the next 4 or 5 minutes until somebody wants to apply the pressure.
Yep.
Because the rider in 5th, from what I can see right now on zone 4, would be either Jude Marsden or Joaquin Salas. And we'll just try and catch this number as he comes across the finish. That's Joaquin Salas in 5th place. So the top 4, Logan Drevlo, Michael Zymek, Evan Moore, and Rain Jones. Rain Jones of Stimulus Trek Canada, Evan Moore of the Collingwood Collective in Canada, at Blue Mountain, a great venue for mountain biking. Michael Zymek from Bear National Team in the U.S. and Logan Drevlo, the American, at the front. And there's Drevlo still working. As the 4 of them are now putting in work, they've got to catch up to the front of the race again. Is that Evan Moore who's pushed through? There's the rest of the group. The trailers is the...
They'll probably get, they'll probably hit the 80%, and yeah.
Now the 80% rule, explain that to those who don't know.
Yeah, so the 80% rule, if you know, they calculate that, you know, the time that you have is within 80% of the leaders' times, then they will pull you from the race. And that's just to make sure that the leaders are not having to lap people and get caught up in something like that. So, yeah, no, the officials there doing a good job of keeping the course clear in front of the leaders.
Yeah, everybody's moving still.
Yep, yep.
And you'll often see that where there'll be a handful of riders who aren't going to finish on that lead lap. You'll see, if you look at the end results, you'll see -2, -3, -6, whatever it may have happened.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think these guys probably just finished their
And that front group just went past us at our broadcast position. This is probably mid-pack what we're seeing come around that drop for the descent.
Yeah.
And again, well, this is actually going to be 5th place, the battle for 5th, sitting there, number 138. We'll try and track him down. Ed and Teach coming through in 5th, leading a group of 7 riders. So 5th up for grabs with a 7-pack working through the start-finish line. And we'll try and catch up with the leaders whenever we do find them on this course. And there they are. Still sitting 4 tight. And all still working. It doesn't look like they're doing anything casual anymore.
No, it doesn't at all. I mean, they're on a mission.
And the action will continue until the U23 and Elite start at 7:30 for the men's. So here we are in Canmore. It's 4:45. Still a whole lot of cycling to go here. We've got 3 more races, including a dinner break in there as well.
Yeah, we do. And actually, you know, in between that, we also will have the elite women, and then we like to put the kids, you know, racing in between the elite women and elite men. Yeah, let them have some people to look up to, and I think you know, having the kids as part of this event is it's pretty fun.
When reading up most of these athletes, if you can find their profiles online, you just type them into Google. A lot of them will say, I grew up watching my brother, I grew up watching my uncle, I grew up watching my sister, something like that. And that's how you get into anything. And obviously in cycling that applies. It applies in soccer when you go on at halftime. It applies in hockey when you go on during the intermissions of any game.
For sure.
But this is the athletes working around the backside of the track here. And once again, front of the race. Get narrow, get arrow. And try and keep it going. And there's the battle for 5th. Still leading that group is Ed and Teach.
Yeah, that's a big battle for the last podium spot for sure.
And shift now, and a pair of riders go down. They get tangled up right back onto their bikes, though. You'd like to see that.
Gosh, now they're taking the right line. That's so interesting. I don't know.
This might just be a follow the leader situation.
And it very well might be. Yeah.
And 3 looking to separate from 4. Try and catch who's falling off the back of this lead group.
.143.
We got Evan Moore leading into this drop. He's joined by Jude Marsden in second. And now they're taking a breather. Now they're just checking in, getting ready, recover for that sprint finish. And it's going to be 2 laps to go here.
It should be 2 laps, yeah, 16 minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it should be 2 more.
So you got your choices here. Pick your poison. Settle in with everybody else and wait for the last one, or try and separate with a solo attack and take it to the finish. But the way these guys have been battling this whole time, I don't know if anybody has the legs to do something like that nearing the end of this 20-minute battle.
Yeah, I mean, they're not taking it easy.
And a full shift. I think it was all 4 changed positions as they worked around that bend. Following the cross to the finish line, as we look at some more mid-pack athletes here dropping in. And we'll try and check in here on 5th place. Looks like it's still, actually no, Dylan Reed has moved past Ed and Teach for the 5th spot. Donovan Racing in the States. And now our leaders again. And a little bit of a break at the front of the race. One working away solo. I believe we've got Evan. Try and pick up that number. That's Logan Drevlo. Logan Drevlo with the attack there to separate himself from the other 3 in that pack. He drops in and then drops the hammer as well on the descent, trying to gather some speed and build. And you can see only maybe 1 or 2 of these guys can actually follow, with the 4th falling off the back. It looks like Evan Moore might be losing this group, as 1 is separated. 2 and 3 are trying to jump back onto the wheel. Evan Moore fight. You can see him giving everything he's got. Is this the finish?
Oh,
yes, it is.
Okay, that was only 18 minutes.
Drevlo takes gold, so that was the sprint to the finish.
Who's going to be the last podium position now?
Last time we checked in, it was Dylan Reed of Donovan Racing in 5th place. He and Ed and Teach were battling. We'll try and catch the license plate on these guys as they come through it. We don't have a look at the front of the pack right now. And we'll try and pick up this number. Looks like 121 from what I can see here.
Yep.
And that's William Houle from Équipe du Québec.
Very nice.
And he jumps right onto his handlebars after crossing the finish line as well. Just gassed. Everybody's gassed following that one. That was quick in this 800-meter course.
Yeah.
You get around it and you put in work. It's like 800 meters. And do you have any idea what the elevation is on the 800-meter course?
There's not much. There's, maybe 20 meters, something like that. Yeah.
20 meters, and it comes in punches.
It does, yeah. There's definitely, and then, that just before the gargoyle, I would say, is the one steeper hill, and yeah, a little more, a little longer. Yeah, give them a little variety of terrain.
Yeah, no, it's been exciting so far today. So let's go through the top 5 from what we see. Logan Drevlo finishing 18:15, and then Michael Zymek finishing 0.9 seconds behind him. Evan Moore from the Collingwood Collective finishing a 1.5 seconds back. Jude Marsden in 4th place from Team Soho, finishing at 18:16.8. And then William Houle coming through in 5th place.
Yeah, it's a wrap for that one.
And next we have the U23 and Elite Women's XCC.
Yeah, there will be a provincial race before that.
Oh,
so
okay.
yeah, we're going to take an hour break here now, and then there's going to be at 6 o'clock, there'll be a provincial race. And then, yeah, then we'll be the elite women at 6:30, kids at 7, and elite men at 7:30.
I'm going to get a printout of the calendar in front of me. It's just ready to keep rolling through more races, but
Right.
okay.
Yeah, no, we got 4 more to go.
Well, Ron, we got hour-long break coming up here. You're an organizer for this event. If you look on the Cycling Canada website, your name comes up. You've got to answer to everybody. What are your responsibilities for this next hour, or do you get a chance to take it all in?
Yeah, well, you know what's great as an organizer is, you know, we spend a bit of time before the event actually happens, and, you know, we set the course and sort of arrange for everything. But, you know, once the racing starts, that's up to the commissars and UCI officials. So, yeah, I get to kind of just sit back and watch.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It is, you know, and there are the odd little hiccup, like a bear on the course, but, you know, have to help deal with that. But
I was messaging my friends and family back in Ontario, where I'm from, and saying that the race was delayed because there was a bear on the course, and one of my friends messaged me and said, you send me a picture, or it didn't happen. So today when I showed up, I sent him the picture of bear in area, and he had to believe me. But I guess
yep.
You do see bears in Ontario, but it's mostly at the dump.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you get.
I know, but that's what it is about, you know, having an event like this in a provincial park.
Yeah.
You know, conservation is a huge aspect to this area, and you know, protection of the wildlife, and you know, giving them the space they need to do their thing, and so, you know, we're more than happy to accommodate with that.
And that was part of your riders meeting that I sat in on this afternoon for the XCO race. There's the feed zone going up that climb, dual-sided, so that's the chance for the athletes to dispose of any gel packs or whatever their fuel might be. If they want to chuck a bottle off to the side, they've got a chance there. And I understand that in the start-finish line area as well is a chance for them to dispose of that, and that's all part of wildlife management. Also, if you're a cyclist, don't discard of your garbage ever. But those are the two options for the XCO.
It is, yeah, and I understand. You know, it's you're in the middle of a race. You're trying to get some fuel in. You know, we've asked them to, you know, try to put in their back pocket. Sometimes you find your pocket, sometimes you don't.
Sometimes the shoulder doesn't work. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that too. But you know, you know, we get it. And you know, we did realize yesterday that the feed zone is a touch uphill, so it's not. You know, and you're grabbing a bottle too, so there's not a whole lot of time, you know, to take a feed as well. So, yeah, you know, we've agreed that, you know, on the flat finish straight that they can also take a gel, and if it happens to fall on the ground, that's okay.
Somebody get out there and clean it up, but don't get run over.
Exactly.
All right, well, Ron, thank you so much for joining me for this segment of the day. That went by so fast.
Yeah, it did.
Just like they did in front of us, and from our excellent broadcast position. Yeah, it's been great so far. We'll be back in an hour with the elite and U23 women, and then we'll follow that up with the elite and U23 men. So for Ron Sadesky, I'm Dan Malta, and we'll be back on the stream later.
And as you're enjoying lunch from one of our incredible vendors here, please be sure to complete our event survey. All of those who complete the survey will be automatically entered to win a set of Shokz Open Run Bluetooth headphones valued at $250. Scan the QR code on your messaging website located in winters in bear country, these would probably be a great way to listen to music when you're out on the trail.
Yeah, anything that's coming at you, you'll hear it. And no matter how fast you're running or how fast you're cycling, they're not going to fall off.
Amazing. Well, I imagine a lot of the enduro and downhill riders would love to hear that. And especially our cross-country riders with 100 mil of travel because they're feeling every bit of that trail. Thanks so much to our sponsors at Shokz.